Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 1 didn't just give us nostalgia, stakes, and chaos, it quietly delivered one of the biggest twists in the show's entire run. And it wasn't 11. It wasn't Hopper. It wasn't even Vecna making some dramatic return. No, it was Will Byers, the kid who started it all, the kid who vanished in 1983, the kid who suffered the longest. And finally, in the final minutes of the Volume 1 finale, Will unlocks something so shocking that it flips the entire show's power hierarchy upside down.
You didn't just tap into the hive mind, you jacked right into the goddamn control center.
And trust me, if you thought Will was just the emotional heart of the group, Volume 1 just proved he might actually be its secret weapon. If you found this video interesting, please do give us a like and watch the video to the end. That will help us reach to a wider audience on YouTube. And also, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos. Back to the breakdown. Stranger Things Season 5 opens with a flashback, 1983, the Upside Down, a moment in time we all thought we understood. But this time, the camera stays with Will a bit longer. We revisit those dark hallways, those pulsating vines, and that thick cloud of dread that feels like the Upside Down is alive and breathing around him. The premiere doesn't just rehash his trauma. It reveals something we never saw clearly before. Will crossed paths with Vecna himself from the very beginning. Not the Mind Flayer, not the vines, not the atmosphere. Vecna. And that discovery reframes everything we've known for 4 seasons. Vecna didn't just infect Will's mind accidentally. He made contact early, directly, and intentionally. And that tiny moment takes on massive importance once we reach the final episode of Volume 1. Throughout past seasons, we've seen Will suffer side effects from his time in the Upside Down. Visions, chills, episodes of pain whenever Vecna, or before, the Mind Flayer, moved against Hawkins. But as the new season begins, Stranger Things wastes no time reminding us that his connection has never been fully severed. Will says it himself. It never went away. It just got quieter the further he moved from Hawkins. But now he's home again. And as Hawkins crumbles, Will begins experiencing something new. Not just visions, not just tingles. Something deeper, something intrusive, something evolving. And that all leads us to the twist that closes out Volume 1. Will doesn't just sense Vecna anymore, he can replicate him. The final sequence of the episode Sorcerer is one of the most shocking moments the show has ever delivered. When Demogorgons simultaneously attack Mike, Lucas, and Robin in separate locations, Will's body reacts like a switch being flipped. His eyes go fully white, his breathing stops for a moment, and suddenly, he telekinetically freezes all 3 Demogorgons. Not 1, not 2, 3, across different locations, at the exact same moment. The group can't see each other. They can't coordinate. But Will is in all those places at once, just like Vecna. And then comes the part that makes every Stranger Things fan freeze. Will snaps their limbs. The exact same grotesque, bone-twisting movement Vecna inflicts on his victims. Except this time, Will is doing it to save the people he loves. The screen flickers. The sound distorts. And then it's over. 3 Demogorgons lie dead, and Will collapses back to normal like nothing happened. This twist matters for one reason. It proves Will didn't just survive the Upside Down. He didn't just escape it. He came back with a piece of it inside him. And now, that piece is waking up. But Stranger Things does something incredibly clever here. It mirrors Will's power moment with a detail we've only ever associated with 11, the nosebleed. As blood drips from Will's nose, the audience immediately understands. This isn't some random mutation. This is psychokinesis. This is brain strain. This is a cost. 11's nosebleeds have always symbolized the price of her power. Each time she reaches deep, the blood is the reminder that she's pushing herself past human limits. Will getting the same nosebleed ties him not to L, but to the origin of L's powers, Henry Creel, Brenner's first test subject, the boy who became Vecna. The show is telling us something loud and clear. Will is tapping into the same psychic network that Henry once controlled. Not because he was experimented on, but because being dragged into the Upside Down bound him to the hive mind permanently. This brings us to the hive mind itself, one of the most misunderstood parts of Stranger Things lore. Everything in the Upside Down is connected. Demogorgons, vines, spores, the Mind Flayer cloud, even the tendrils crawling through the Creel house. Vecna uses this network like a surveillance system, a defense grid, a communication web, a way to extend himself across distances. But Season 5 clarifies something huge. Will's connection to the hive mind is not passive. It's interactive. When Will is close to Hawkins, he isn't just sensing Vecna's presence. He's receiving information. He's seeing through the eyes of creatures. He's catching glimpses of planned attacks. And at first, he interprets these visions as fear, or echoes, or memories. But as the connection strengthens, the camera starts showing us what Will sees. Flickers of movement, a Demogorgon's perspective, and the dark tunnel vision of a creature preparing to strike. And here's the twist. This two-way connection backfires on Vecna. Hard. Years ago, Vecna used Will as a spy without Will's consent. But now, Will has learned how to interpret the signals. Where Vecna used him, Will is now using Vecna back. And that alone already shifts the power balance in a massive way. But Volume 1 goes even further, building toward the moment Mike accidentally predicts Will's transformation. In one of the season's most quietly important scenes, Will struggles to understand his visions. Robin compares him to a radio receiver, like the signal gets clearer the closer he gets to the source. And while that analogy makes perfect sense, it's Mike's line that hits like a prophecy. When tensions rise and Will doubts himself, Mike calls him a sorcerer, someone strong enough to control the hive mind instead of being controlled by it. It feels like a simple pep talk at first. Mike trying to comfort his best friend during a surreal, terrifying mystery. But the writing is smarter than that. The word sticks. The title of the episode, Sorcerer, locks it in. Mike unknowingly names the power Will unlocks at the climax of Volume 1. And when Will freezes those Demogorgons, when his eyes turn white, when their bones snap mid-air, it clicks. Mike was right. The show was foreshadowing it the entire time. But Stranger Things doesn't just rely on dialogue or flashy action scenes. It also uses memory. When Will panics before unleashing his abilities, Robin tells him to look inward, to remember who he was before the fear took over. This leads into a montage of his younger self, playing D&D, drawing, laughing, and moments before the Upside Down changed him forever. It's one of the most emotional moments in the final episode. For the first time, Will isn't being haunted by his memories. He's using them as a foundation. He stops running from what he feels. He stops hiding. And that acceptance unlocks the psychic doorway inside him. Thematically, it's powerful. Narratively, it's perfect. And strategically, for the battle against Vecna, it's a game changer. Because let's be honest, 11 alone was never going to be enough. Vecna is stronger than ever. The Upside Down is bleeding into reality, and Hawkins is hanging by a thread. The final war was always going to require more than brute power. It needed someone who could understand the hive mind from the inside. Someone who Vecna underestimated. Someone who already survived him once. And that someone is Will Byers. So what does this mean moving forward? It means that Will is officially the second psychic force on the board. Not an experiment. Not a clone. Not Henry's successor. But something entirely new. A human conduit tied to the most ancient parts of the Upside Down. It means Will might be able to track Vecna's movements, intercept attacks, or even hijack the hive mind itself. It means the group now has an internal advantage no one expected. It means Vecna's biggest attempt to manipulate Will has turned into the weapon that might destroy him. But it also means Will is in more danger than ever, because now that he's accessed Vecna-like power, Vecna knows. You can feel it in the final shot before the credits, an unsettling, almost telepathic tension. Vecna's greatest creation isn't the Mind Flayer, or the monstrous creatures, or the gate tearing Hawkins apart. It's the connection he formed with a scared boy in 1983, and now that boy is fighting back. Season 5, Volume 1, ends not with closure, but with possibility. Will isn't just haunted anymore. He's awakened, and when Volume 2 arrives, the war between him and Vecna won't be a battle of armies. It'll be a battle of minds. A psychic collision. The past versus the present. The monster versus the survivor. Will Byers started Stranger Things as the victim. Season 5 might end with him becoming the one person Vecna truly fears. And that, more than anything, is the twist that could save Hawkins.